Hello, magical people of the internet. I am Jen, and welcome to my vlog, I Never Thought I Would, where we talk about doing things we never thought we would do and the magical places that they can lead us. So this week we have our first guest. We have writer, WGA West member, comedian, and the Memoir Midwife, Stacy Dymalski. Hi, Stacy.
Hi, Jen.
Thank you so much for joining us this week. We're really
Oh, thank you for having me.
great. So, I asked you to come on. You have been an integral resource, support, friend throughout my journey of self-publishing my book. And I mentioned you last week in last week's vlog that I never would have made it to the finish line without your help. And I thought that you would be a great first guest to come on the show. And I would love to have you talk about doing something you never thought you would do and where it led you.
All right. Well, that's easy because I never thought, it's kind of a twofold thing. It's career oriented. I never thought I would have kids because when I was young, I always said I wouldn't. And then I did have them. I had two sons who are now grown. And then I never thought after that that I would end up divorced after almost 30 years of marriage. And both those things sound kind of sad, but in the long run, for me, it actually worked out, I think, the way it was supposed to. It sounds sad for a young person to say, oh, I never want kids, because it just sounds so closed-minded. But I had kids. I had my first son when I was 36, and the second one when I was almost 40. And I put my career as a screenwriter and comedian on hold while I raised these kids. I did little things to keep my foot in it. Like I shot commercials. I wrote for advertising companies and I shot commercials, but I was never anybody's employee. My focus was always my kids. And then once they left onto college and their own lives, I was going to pick my career up where it left off, as hard as that would be in and of itself. But my husband, bless his heart, we're okay. We don't hate each other, but he kind of was comfortable where we were and what we had settled into. And I had always assumed I would just get back to that energy level I was at before, and wherever I left off, just try to pick up and just like a cannon, just continue. And it didn't work out that way. And because I think I was a little bit, it was more than he wanted or bargained for, we did end up splitting, which was probably the most painful thing in my whole adult life. I just thought my life was over. I would never, ever get over this. And you know what? I did. And that forced me then to focus. It was all or nothing at that point. I had nothing to lose. I lived in Park City, Utah at the time. I packed up and I moved back to LA, which I'm originally from California.
Did you live in Park City the entire time you were with your husband? Because I know you went to UCLA. Did you meet him in LA, or I'm just curious about where.
I actually, yeah, how that all, yes. I met him at a company called ISCO, which was in San Diego County. It was a computer graphics and animation company. And they did mostly business graphics, but they also worked with, did this thing every year called ISCO Week for computer animated graphics and CAD. And the guys who went on to do Pixar used to come, and they premiered their Hopping Lamp, So this company was in animation and graphics, and I met him there. Mm-hmm. And we lived in North San Diego County at the time, and we got married. And I was driving up to LA, and I was at the Comedy Store. I did comedy, and I did comedy in San Diego as well, going back and forth. Because we lived kind of.
That's who you were. It's not like it came as a total. It's not like you were married and together for 30 years, and then all of a sudden you woke up. And you're like, you know what? I think I'm a comedian.
No, he knew what was in me. And he enjoyed it at the time too. We didn't have kids. We were married 9 years before we had kids. Mm-hmm. And we lived the high life. We had money. We traveled. He was supportive of my comedy. He'd come and watch it, even when he had seen it, 19 times. And it was a fun life. Things changed because we bought a second home in Park City, and he's a big skier. He was actually on his college ski team, and I think he might have even been ranked nationally at one
Oh,
point.
cool.
Yeah. And so we moved to Park City, or we bought the second home in Park City. We kept going back and forth, back and forth. And finally, we decided to go there and try it out for a year or two as a permanent home. Kept our home in Encinitas, rented it out. And while I was there, I got pregnant. And I had a baby. And it's funny, when you have a child somewhere, the roots start going deep. You get kind of hooked in, because what happens is you find play groups, you find a preschool, you find you find a tribe that is in the same place you are with that child for support. So when that happened, we ended up selling the house in Encinitas, and then came back. We committed to staying there for a while. Then I got pregnant again, 2.5 years later, have another son. They're 3 years apart. And now you're really hooked. And I was going back and forth between LA and Park City. And I have to say, it was nice raising those kids there. But in my mind, I always knew, you know what, when this is done, I'm going to go back. We are going to go back. Mm-hmm. And that apparently was not what was in his head. And so when they were done, we just realized we wanted different things. And that was a hard reality, because I come from a family of divorce. Both my parents married and divorced several times. And I was not going to be like that. I was going to never get a divorce. And I did love my husband. And the older you get, you realize love is not the primary factor in staying married. You have to have a lot more in common. And so when that all fell apart, I was at the bottom of such a deep hole. I just couldn't figure out how I would ever get out, or why this was happening to me. So that's how that all went down. And I decided I'm moving back to LA by myself. And I did. I sold everything. And what I kept, I put into a little U-Haul, moved back to LA, rented an apartment in Hollywood. And for the first 3 to 6 months, I had no furniture. I literally slept on an arrow bed on the floor.
Oh, that's what I did when I first moved to LA.
Yeah. Yep. And I will say this, it wasn't like, it's good and bad. It wasn't like when you're 24 and you move to LA and you have nothing, you have no skill set, you have no way to make money, so you wait tables. I had a lot of experience, when I went, I had a lot of experience and things I could fall back on. I was already a member of the Writers Guild, so I could take jobs that paid decent. And I'd already started my Memoir Midwife business, which is a story development business, How I Met You, helping authors and potential authors structure and develop their stories and self-publish them if that's what they want to do. So, because coming from a writer-producer background for television and movies, that model is exactly the same for books, but on a smaller scale. So I had that business going on to keep me afloat, so I didn't have to wait tables.
Did you start the Memoir Midwife business before you moved to Hollywood?
I did. It kind of evolved because in 2011, I wrote my own book called Confessions of a Band Geek Mom, How My Life as a Stand-Up Comic Prepared Me for Motherhood. And it was a fish out of water story about this comedian living in Park City, trying to raise our kids who have artistic talent of their own. Sort of a fish out of water thing. And I ended up self-publishing that book. And when I realized, oh, this is like making an independent movie, I started helping other people. Other people would ask me, hey, can I pick your brain how you did all this? And I realized there was a business here. So I
Mm-hmm.
started my own business while my kids were still in high school. And I was already divorced by then. Divorce was final in 2012. And so and my kids graduated 2013 and 2016. So while they were still in high school, I started this business, and it was the thing that I needed to be able to pursue my own writing career, but still bring in money to be
Mm-hmm.
able to stay afloat. And it's grown substantially, where it is, it, especially all that's happened in the last few years with the Writers Guild. Our contract came due for renewal, which that's always scary, because it's, are they going to strike? Are we not going to strike? Plus the whole ATA with the writers firing their agents and that whole thing. So a lot of writers had to stop working for various reasons. And this helped me, this memoir midwife business, which I love. I love helping other creatives reach their potential.
Mm-hmm.
So, even if I sold a series that was as immensely popular as something like Friends, I would still keep my foot in that memoir midwife business, because there is nothing more rewarding than seeing a writer come out with a book that they are truly proud of and has great potential. So yeah, I started that while I was still in Park City.
And aren't you teaching some classes now?
I do. I teach story development and self-publishing at Pasadena City College and at Glendale Community College. And
Incredible.
that's rewarding as well. I mean, I love that. It's easy now because it's all online. I was teaching at Pasadena before the pandemic, so I would go, I mean, it's not that far from where I live. I would go and do classroom classes, but now it's all online. So the enrollment's even bigger than it was when it was classroom classes. And
Incredible.
yeah, I enjoy that a lot. It's funny, no teacher makes a ton of money. And the money that I make from that, it's nice. It helps. But what I really love about that is it allows me to make connections and relationships with writers that I wouldn't have been able to make otherwise. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not like every student becomes a client by any means, but what a lot of times happens is my students will introduce me to other people that will become clients. So yeah, I do that as well, and I thoroughly enjoy teaching. It's in my blood. My mother was a fifth grade teacher my whole life.
Oh, that's fascinating. Very cool.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this ended up, I guess the whole point of this story is that the worst thing in my life was really the catalyst to become possibly one of the best things in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And that is to realize and reach my potential, my purpose. My purpose was not to be sitting in a cabin in Park City, just kind of coasting from here on out. I got a lot left. I mean, I got all of chapter 3 of my life left, and I'm not ready to just sit on a rocker on a front porch.
Well, yeah,
And
and it's not just your purpose, it's your passion.
it is totally my passion.
And living a passionate life where you wake up excited every day and you're, driven to get out of bed and get to work and meet with the people you're supposed to meet and help these people tell their story, tell the stories that are inside of you, help tell the stories that are inside of other people.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible.
It is incredible. It's incredible that I get to do what I love. And I think that is the goal. And I don't think my life would have been horrible or unhappy had I stayed in Park City, but it wouldn't have been as fulfilling for
Mm,
me personally. I realize that now. I don't think I would have realized that then. I just would have said, yeah, I'm happy. I get to mountain bike whenever I want. I get to ski in the winter. Yeah, I'm happy. But I do feel like what I'm doing now makes a difference in the world. I really do, because I think that when someone tells their story, it can change the world. It can, whether it's a book or a movie or a blog or a short story or a speech.
Well, we've all read that story or saw that movie or even heard a song that changed our life, that helped inspire us or give us courage to do something we didn't think we could do, or get out of a situation we didn't think we could get out of. So stories are very important. They're
Yes.
definitely what keep us inspired and motivated, for sure. So I agree, it is important work.
Mm-hmm. It's the common thread of humanity. It
Mm-hmm.
allows you to relate to somebody that you may not even have culturally, you're different, but at the end of the day, we're all people. So
Yeah,
we
we
have the
all have the
same.
same basic needs.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so I love, one of the things I love about teaching is one of the first things I do when I teach is have everybody in the room or in the Zoom room go around and say why they're, what is the story that you want to tell. So if it's the development class, what are
Mm-hmm.
you working on? And if it's the self-publishing class, what is it that you want to publish?
Yeah.
And the stories, I just wish I had enough money to option all of them, because I see the potential in just about everyone, because by the time they get to my classes, they've already put a lot of thought into it, and in some cases have already written a first draft or a final draft.
Mm-hmm.
And so they know, as you well know, when you write a story, you live with it for so long, it is like you almost become sick of it.
Yep.
And
You become sick of it a few times.
yes, sometimes you got to put it away and come back to it. But
Exactly.
by the time they share it in my class, the passion behind it is so, even if it's something is, that if just read a sentence or a log line, it would sound ridiculous. But when they tell you, it is, you're just so on board, you can't wait to read it or see it up on a big screen or on TV. And so I feel like, and I have optioned some of them, and I have written screenplays, some of them, for some of them, and a couple of them are out there floating around. I have an entertainment attorney and a manager, and I'm working on getting an agent, and I have some projects out there floating around. One of which started out as a client in prison,
Yeah.
and so of all things, and I ended up doing a TED talk about that situation, about that client, about that book, which did get published. And now it's being considered by some of the top production companies in Hollywood. And really the only thing that has kept it down at this point is this pandemic.
Yeah.
So I have done that. I have been so enamored and so passionate about some of the stories that people have shared with me. I feel like, okay, I have got to do something to help bring this to another level.
Yes.
And I try. I mean, there's no guarantees, as you well know, but
No.
I try.
And
So,
even if you get the movie made, there's no guarantees they see the light of day. You and I have been through this process several times.
oh
So,
yeah,
you
yes.
know,
I never understand I've seen movies that I just think are unbelievable, and yet nobody's heard of them, and then there's movies that are huge, and you think, oh, that was okay. I wonder, what struck a chord with everybody there. So you just don't know. It's not brain surgery. It's not exact.
it's funny how the world works. Like, we can't predict, what's going to lead us towards success or opportunity, but we just have to keep doing things that we never thought we would.
Yeah, you ride that wave. I always said when I was going through my divorce, I felt like I was being threaded through the eye of a needle. But
Mm,
I just had to keep going through, knowing that until I got all the way through, it was going to hurt. And in my mind, I just prepared myself for that hurt. And even that mindset, preparing myself, it still hurt more than I thought. And
yeah.
so I just kept moving forward. You get up every day, and I would do at least one thing that brought me closer to what I wanted.
Yeah.
Even if it was just one phone call or writing one paragraph or getting a couple emails out, I had to do something that propelled me in that direction. I couldn't
Yeah.
stay on that rock.
Definitely. Definitely.
So you never know. You just never know. You just, like I said, just continue riding that wave and hope for
Exactly.
hope for the best.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much, Stacy. Thank you for sharing your story and for coming on the vlog. Can you tell everyone where they can find you?
My website is thememoirmidwife.com. You can also find it at stacydymalski.com. It goes to the same place. I also have a book on Amazon that I would love if you are interested in self-publishing, but you're not sure if it's right for you. It's called The Memoir Midwife, 9 Steps to Self-Publishing Your Book on Amazon, and it is also available in Kindle. And it walks you through the self-publishing process. It's a very economical way to find out if self-publishing is right for you.
Great. Thank you so much. We will have all the links below. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. And I would like to challenge you to do something you never thought you would, because you never know where it can lead you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And in the comments, tell me what you're going to do that you never thought you would. Thanks and have a great day.
Thank you.